Ayan, good afternoon teachers at magandang hapon po sa ating Saturday live stream. Good afternoon Sir Jello and thank you for joining us teachers for this lively afternoon. Alam ko po it's a Saturday as usual. We're supposed to be resting pero maraming salamat for joining us and we appreciate your presence here today. Sir Jello, kumusta po?
Ayan, okay naman. Medyo matagal tayong nawala. Medyo naging busy lang. Kaya, good afternoon. Good afternoon po sa lahat. And I'm very happy to see ang dami na natin mga, mga regulars dito. At
yes, oo.
I think excited na sila for this one.
Yes, ako rin napaka-excited kasi ito talaga yung pinaka-anchor natin for the entire series Not to pressure our speaker for today, pero ito talaga yung magiging anchor ng entire series natin. And of course, we'd like to greet our ever gorgeous and amazing co-administrator, Teacher Pao. Medyo kinabahan ako dun sa pa-outfit ni Teacher Pao ngayon. May something different.
Mainit kasi, di ba?
Ayan, pati kami parang nainitan kami, Teacher Pao.
Di ba? Nagulat ako biglang pasok pala. Buti maayos pa mukha ko. Okay. Good afternoon all sa ating mga kaagapay. And to you, Sir Franco and Sir Jello.
Good afternoon, teachers. And of course, teachers, bago tayo siguro magsimula at magpatuloy sa ating session for today, we'd like to ask everyone to please do share our link to your social media accounts, IG, Twitter, Facebook, or even in TikTok kung kaya po natin i-share, so that we can invite more educators. Pero bago siguro tayo magsimula, we would like to first greet our teachers from the audience. So we would like to send our good afternoon to our teachers who are as early as 12:17 p.m. Napakaaga. Golden Sunshine Day, sir. Admins, good afternoon, Teacher Joseph Odelon Hermetanyo. Teacher R.M. Ana Lizelle, Teacher Lamberto Pilatan, Pastor Manny Garcia, Teacher Roxanne Altea Fernandez, Teacher Miriam Duwalan, Teacher Marvin Francisco, Teacher Maria Ana Feso Malinog, Teacher Christy Mohamed, Teacher Carol Sombria, Teacher Mary Grace Castillo, Dana Bibi, Yes, sana lahat may BB. Just kidding. Cherish Rivera, Teacher Annie Rose Rosas, Teacher Frosty Navarra, Teacher Angela Arellano, and I'll stop at Teacher Merly Pelios. Good afternoon po.
Yun. So, tutuloy po natin. Good afternoon rin kay Teacher JV Paul Tuazon, Teacher Mikey Leonardo, Teacher Ninfa Malio, Teacher Jonalyn Balaan, Teacher Dominador Edulag, Teacher Marjorie Hernandez, Teacher Eric Dayao Mercader, Teacher Mario Salvador, ito, si Teacher Franco, Teacher Jackie Omboy, Teacher Yon Mano, and Teacher Mark Noel Yongko.
Ayan, oo. Hindi ko inabot lahat, Sir Franco, no? Kasi ang bilis umangat, nandun na ako sa bandang dulo. Sa mga hindi ko mababate. I'm so sorry, pero magsisimula po ako kay Teacher Christopher De La Vega, Teacher Micah Joy Mitra, Teacher MJ last week. Thank you so much and congratulations. Greet din po natin si Sir Benavides Herunjo from Cebu City. From Baras Rizal, Mardina Lumaki. Miss Annalyn Peña, Miss Jeneline Carvalho, Miss Shai, Sir Manny Garcia, na nakamiss kay Sir Angelo, and saying good to have you back. Oo, diba, no? Nakakamiss si Sir Jello. From New Era University, Teacher Ronaldin Alcaide, a BSc major in math as a freshman. O, diba, ang aga as a freshman. Sir Lawrence Clotilde. Yan. Sir or Miss Joyce Gang, Sir Jude Michael Marzo, Miss Maria Corazon Solis, Sir Ninfa Malio, and Miss Susan Eda. Ayan ang inabot ng ating feed.
Yan, maraming salamat do, Teacher Pao. Of course, for the rest na hindi po namin nag-greet, magandang hapon po and good afternoon, no, sa inyong lahat, no. And thank you again once again, no, for joining us this afternoon. Okay? Ngayon, Teacher Pao, no, bago tayo siguro magsimula, no, ng ating session for today, okay? I'd like to first contextualize, no, syempre yung ating pong term for this is contextualization or contextualizing trends and innovations in education. Pero ang pinanggagalingan talaga natin dito, no, Teacher Pao, is that marami tayong pag-uusapan ng mga trends and best practices, innovations around the world, okay? Pero alin dito yung talagang applicable sa Pilipinas? Okay? Alin dito yung pwede nating gamitin talaga sa Pilipinas, okay? And this will set off, no, everything that we will be engaging or talking about for the next few sessions in our March series is that kailangan our teachers are fully reminded that it's not just about like copy pasting or lifting, no, trends or best practices or elevations from different countries or prestigious schools, no, or universities outside of our country. Pero napakahalaga that we always take our context, the Philippine context, because copy pasting trends, best practices, and innovations would hurt not only you teachers, but also our students and maybe the entire school. So we will not do that. We will make sure that whatever we're going to discuss for the next sessions is something that is appropriate and will really be applicable, no, for our Filipino teachers and Filipino learners. Ayan. So, dyan tayo nanggagaling, Sir Jello. Okay? Para sa ating session for today. Okay. So, siguro we can now begin, no? Or baka meron pa kayong questions, Teacher Pao, Sir Jello, sa topic natin for today, or ang mga teachers natin, okay? Maybe have some insights as well, okay? Pero kung wala na, we can proceed actually to our session today with the introduction, no, okay, of our speaker, okay? May I ask Teacher Pao to introduce our speaker for today, who is not anymore new in our community. He gave a session, no, last January series, which is, by the way, already at 145,000 views already. Napakadami kasi napakaganda ng session na yun. Kaya excited din ako sa session na to.
Yes, it is definitely my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. Sir Jake Aragon is an educator, professional trainer, and consultant with over 15 years of educational leadership and management experience. After teaching and serving as student activity coordinator in Xavier School for 10 years, he assumed the role of AVP for Student Affairs and VP and Principal for the Senior High School Department of iAcademy. He also established Team Solutions, a training firm that designs and implements training experiences focused on team building, leadership, creativity, and organizational communication. Currently, he is the academic manager for the Philippines of Acad Asia, a Singapore based mission driven education technology company that aims to empower educators everywhere through a networking and learning platform called FreeJu, which serves as a global community of educators. Mga kaagapay, let us give a warm welcome to our speaker, Sir Jake Aragon.
Hello. Good
Hello.
afternoon, Franco, Jello, and Pau. Thank you once again for having me over, and to our teachers from Pangasinan all the way to Igacos and Zamboanga. Magandang hapon po at salamat. Binibigyan niyo rin pa rin po kami ng panahon kahit Sabado, no? Alam natin, lalo na yung mga magulang, Sabado talagang sacred yan for family time and errands at home, whether magluto or maglaba or maglinis, di ba? Yun talaga yung ginagawa natin pag Sabado, but we're spending time together to learn more and to develop ourselves further as teachers. And I remember like si Sir Jello nung bagong CLE teacher yan sa Xavier. He was one of the very eager ones na nandun sa faculty room. Talagang open to learning, malapit na malapit sa mga bata, exploring new strategies and techniques, no, with the kids. And then I remember working with them, especially sa EDSOR. Ito po yung samahan namin sa Xavier School, Ika, Poveda, and Lasal. Siya po yung nagbabantay ng mga taga-Ika at that time. So kami po, bago pa dumating yung mga bata dun sa event, nandun na po kami, at bago umuwi yung yung huling participant, kailangan nandun pa rin kami. Nagbabantay at nagpapalitan po ng mga ideas about education and about student activities. And of course, Sir Franco, how can we ever thank him enough for organizing KTS, no? Ang dami-dami ng webinar, no, Sir Franco, and just imagine the hundreds of thousands of teachers that are being helped and supported by KTS. So
Yeah.
good job and congratulations once again.
Maraming salamat, Sir Jake. And of course, we're excited again, no? Kasi sobrang coming from your last session, na sobrang well appreciated, no? Not only from the Philippines, but I think also globally, no? May mga teachers then from different parts of the world who actually also watch, no? And actually contacted, no, Sir Jake as well. Okay. So Sir Jake, before we start your session for today, okay, although we already gave, no, like a brief overview of what the session will be about, pero what exactly will be our teachers, no, will be expecting from our session for today?
Right. Thank you for that question, Sir Franco. Dear teachers, we all know that there are so many things happening around the world, right? In the education space. And we can go on and on talking about the new tech, the new developments and innovations in technology. But we always have to constantly ask ourselves, how are these relevant to our context? No? How are these manifesting or being demonstrated in our country where resources are different from school to school, right? Where access to technology and access to different types of support are also varied from institution to institution. So we will look into that, Sir Franco, Sir Jello, and Pau, and see what education forecasters from the Brookings Institute based in Washington, D.C. are saying about the trends and research to follow in the year 2022. No? And then later, I will also have a special gift for our attendees today. Later, pagdating dun sa dulo ng presentation, we can mention what that is all about. But that's still all aligned to our topic today, which is how we can contextualize global trends in the Philippine situation.
Grabe naman yung, actually excited ako kasi hindi dito sinabi ni Sir, pati ako surprised actually for this. So teachers, free webinar with certificates, with free gifts, and of course, an awesome speaker. So maybe we can start already. So teachers, please be reminded that this is a certified event, which means you will get a certificate after this event. Just make sure that you answer the evaluation form. Okay, and of course, Sir Jake, although you don't need it, but still good luck on your session for today. Okay, we'll be in the background, teachers. Okay, and we'll be engaging with you for your questions or insights.
Okay. All right. Please give me a few seconds to share my screen.
Kailangan mag-budget. Hello, what's this? Ila. Please,
Ayan,
mo na
just
anak.
Ayan, we can
confirm.
see it now, Sir Jake.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Let's begin. Once again, dear teachers, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Napakalaki po ng topic that you can see based on the title that's being projected on the screen, right? But what I want everyone to be able to remember is that what we will do is we will focus on a few trends, that experts are saying we should look into in the year 2022. As I mentioned earlier, we can talk about the tech, the AR and the VR, the artificial intelligence, and all those things. But again, not all of these, are applicable to where you are in your different context or in your different situations as teacher. So we will look at some trends that are more on the system level or the school level. That way, we will see how they will be immediately applicable or relatable to our context in the different schools. Okay, but before I go to the trends, no, I'd like to invite everyone to please go ahead and share into the chat box your thoughts or your ideas, or if you think there's something in the presentation that you resonate with or connect a lot to, please go ahead and make your comments there. That way we can, keep the conversation going and at the same time be able to share your ideas as well. Remember, in a session like this, hindi lang po ako yung resource person that you can learn from. In fact, in any seminar, in any webinar that we attend, usually the best resource persons are the ones who are attending with you. And the most important or valuable insight that you might hear might come from the other teachers, from the other participants in the group. So I'd like to encourage everyone to be able to share. Ang theme nga po natin, di ba? Hashtag guro para sa iba. And let's continue to do that, even if it means us continuously sharing our thoughts and ideas with others. So what does it mean to be world class? What does it mean to have standards that are recognized globally? And I want to get it right off the bat, dear teachers. When we say being world class, what we mean is that we have to be Filipino. Okay? Being world class equals being Filipino in the many, many things that you do as educators, as teachers. So, what does it mean to be world class? Do we have to have what other schools have? Do we have to be able to simply, as Sir Franco said, copy and paste what other schools are doing into our own setting or into our own schools? Or can we also have our own ways of doing or implementing things? May diskarting Pinoy ba na pwede nating gawin din, no, sa ating mga paaralan, sa ating mga classroom that can also mean that we are showing world-class teaching, world-class practices in education. But right from the start, I will tell you, dear teachers, being world-class, setting that standards is equal to being Filipino in the way we teach and in the way we do things in school. Okay? We set our own world-class standards in that way. And on top of the trends that I will be sharing with you, I'll also be talking about some outstanding Filipino educators who have all, studied here and went on to institutions abroad and really moved the needle when it comes to changing the way their schools or their institutions work. So I hope you'd be able to appreciate as well some of the best case examples through the outstanding teachers that I'll be sharing later, so that you may also pick up something from them and also implement or learn from their experience and hopefully use it in either your classrooms or in your own schools. So let's go to the first trend. According to the Brookings Institute senior fellow Emily Wright, the first trend that teachers and school leaders or even all school stakeholders should do is that we should focus on data-informed decision making. Minsan nakakalimutan po natin, dear teachers, of the many, many things that you're busy with in school. No? May mga decision po tayo or may mga gawain po tayo na parang gut feel lang and will not really be based on sound data that we have to be able to consider to guide our decision-making process. Now, what does that mean? First, when you focus on data-informed decision-making, these are things that schools look into. First, real-time performance data. Second is cost data. And third is educational data mining. Now, we've seen a renewed focus on different forms of data that are critical to enhance education outcomes, such as real-time performance data, which will allow teachers and other decision makers to make adjustments in the courses. So what does this mean? This simply means that when we are seeing students' grades, when we are seeing their progress reports, when we are seeing some students moving really fast, or some students really struggling with some topics or some lessons, okay, let that data inform you as to how fast or how slow or how your speed in carrying out the lesson should be. But at the same time, it should also give you quality data or information as to the depth of the content of the lessons that you're teaching. Okay, so real-time performance data is something that school leaders and teachers can always use that can help you pace yourselves better inside the classroom. Now, for school heads, likewise goes for cost data. Okay, so you will see that when you make important decisions in the school, you will have to look at, let's say, the budget that you're spending on in terms of what resources you want the school to have. Lalo na po ngayon, online learning. Are we spending a lot on tech resources or availability of gadgets and devices for both teachers and students, right? How much did the school spend before and will be spending in the future, among other things? So you have to be able to look closely at the data to help you make those decisions very well. Hindi lang po dahil nape-pressure tayo sa parents or nape-pressure tayo sa general community that we make decisions just to please them. No, what people or what school forecasters, what education strategists are saying is that you have to be able to look closely at cost data as well. And third, dear teachers, is the concept of educational data mining. Can you believe, no? Hindi lang po pala pang marketing or pang tech or pang digital activity or commerce ang data mining na ginagawa. This is a relatively new field, but there's a lot that's been being developed in order to get useful, purposeful data out of what we call EDM or educational data mining. Now, ano po yan? Ito po yung very systematic, very scientific process, okay, of looking at data in the school that gives you four key information. First is achievement data. So how are students doing in languages, in the maths, in the sciences, in the other subjects? Second is demographic data. Is there orientation or backgrounds or social profile affecting student outcomes or student progress. So you have to be able to see that as well. And you use the data gathered from their information sheets or from their uh, records to help you make those decisions. Third is program data. What are the students looking for? Do they benefit from extracurricular, more social, emotional activities that need to be implemented? Or should you be strengthening academic programs more and more through surveys, through conversations, through consultations? This is how you can use that data as well. And next is perception data. Okay, how do students find school? How do students appreciate the activities that they have? How are they finding all these learning experiences that you're designing? Pag nakikita po pala sa survey or sa findings, from your quick or maybe even informal researches that these are things that are not really working well with students, then let's make those changes, then let's make those adjustments. So these are the things that can be obtained from educational data mining. When you go online and search more information about EDM, you will find so many tips, so many techniques that you can use when you mine data from education. Now, how will we use this in the Philippines or in your context? First, gamitin po natin ang report cards, no, ang grades, very well to be able to assess student performance and progress. We know that this is something that perhaps is a basic, but if you aggregate the data, if you put together the data and see that, hey, in this class, perhaps hindi ganun kagaling or hindi ganun kataas ang performance ng mga bata sa languages, then there might be something that we can do about it. Or in another class, a good number of students might be struggling in math, then perhaps there's a need to be able to strengthen the activities or the programs geared towards them learning and appreciating more math. So you have to be able to use not really very technical or very difficult, ways to treat the data or the statistics, but even simple methods that can help you give or understand a better picture of where the students are based on real-time performance data. Second is to learn about a student's background for diagnosis. Ano po ba yung pinagdaanan ng bata that makes him or her perform in a certain manner in class? No? Is he or she going through something very difficult in terms of maybe the situation at home, or there are really learning challenges that the student is experiencing? So in order for you to intervene and do something about it, learn about a student's background for diagnosis. And finally, as teachers, using data will help you improve teaching strategies and even your classroom management. When I was a principal of a senior high school before, at the end of every semester, we would ask our students to evaluate their teachers. And alam niyo po, teachers, what I gave my members in the faculty, I always gave them the verbatim feedback from the students regarding how they were assessed during the semester. Some comments are very real, some are very funny, some are very heartwarming, and some are very harsh. But for me, what was important is that the teacher would always know how the students would evaluate or would provide feedback to the teacher. So when we give the feedback, I do spend time with each teacher to talk about how the feedback went and come up with ways by which we can move forward in addressing some of those that need some improvement or some of those feedback that need to be urgently addressed. So that way, many decisions on hiring, many decisions on training, many decisions on support were made based on the data obtained or received from the students because of the system that we had. So trend number one, according to the Brookings Institute, is to focus on data-informed decision-making. Kahit po kayo lang sa classroom, go ahead and explore how you think key data may be used for you to be able to improve the way you do things in the classroom. Okay? All right. So let's move on. And I'll talk to share with you some examples of outstanding Pinoy educators abroad who have used data, who have been appointed as top heads of their institutions because of their leadership and because of their way of navigating their organizations or their schools. And the first is Dr. Astrid Tumines, and currently she's the president of Utah Valley University in the United States. It's the biggest university in the state of Utah. She was born in a small farming village in Iloilo. She speaks 7 languages. She's an original thinker, global speaker, widely published author and media speaker, multilingual, proven leader of teams, always emphasized on the use of data to be able to make key decisions for the school. Go ahead and search her on YouTube or on Google, and you will see a wealth of information about the very inspiring story of Dr. Astrid Tumines. Mahirap lang po siya nung bata, but nagsumikap, pinag-aralan po ng mabuti kung paano maging isang magaling na educator, paano maging isang mahusay na teacher, and now she's making waves in the United States as president of Utah Valley University. And the second outstanding Pinoy educator that I'd also want to share with you about is Dr. Annalisa Amorao, who's currently the chair of the Humanities and Language Division at Mahidol University in Bangkok, Thailand. And what she did using data, again, using educational data mining, was to focus on research on students' reading skills and comprehension, because Thai students are not too familiar with the English language the way Filipino students are. She took a lot of effort to study, the language performance of students in their university. And after taking so much time and a lot of quality research work, understanding where students are in terms of their reading skills and comprehension, they were able to come up with intervention programs. And now students from their university are among the top in the region when it comes to the test of English as a foreign language. So using data to help guide the decision-making process in terms of the language program that's most needed for the school was what Dr. Amorao did. She is also a multi-awarded educator and in fact received the Bagong Bayani Award from President Benigno Aquino when he was president a few years ago. So remember, dear teachers, just like Doctors Tomines and Amorao, being world class is demonstrating Filipino class in their work. No, do not be intimidated about what foreign counterparts are able to do. Do not be envious, or do not just sit down and be awed, right? Or overwhelmed at what other people are doing. We have examples of outstanding Pinoy educators abroad who are doing so well in their respective institutions. And they're really showing how, being world class is actually being Filipino in the way we teach and in the way we work in our schools. And in your school, I'd also like to invite you to practice that first trend, that you're always able to use data for all your decision making, for all the things that you want to implement in your institution. Okay, so trend 2, let's proceed. Trend 2 is adopting a whole child approach to education. Kathy Pasek, again from the Brookings Institute, is saying that the pandemic highlighted several trends in education that promise to be the focus of future policy and practice in 2022 and beyond. The importance of skills that supplement the learning of content and the systemic inequities in education systems. So what are we talking about here? Kathy Pasek from Brookings Institute is saying that we as teachers, that school leaders, should go beyond coverage, should go beyond content, and even put more focus on developing the social-emotional skills of students on top of the cognitive skills and deep understanding of literacy, math and science understanding. Hindi lang po yung pagsagot ng equation, hindi lang po yung pagbasa ng short story, hindi lang po yung pag-intindi ng iba't ibang concepts and theories in science, but how these theories, how these lessons connect to bigger issues. What Kathy Pasek from the Brookings Institute is saying is that we as teachers, we as formators should strive for deeper understanding in these areas or in these subjects, and that will help students, become better prepared for the future, and that will help students feel that their education is more relevant, more useful to them. So that's the second trend. How do we apply that in our own context, in your own ways? Very generally speaking, whether online or on site, because we are now moving towards returning to classrooms, right? You are all challenged, right, to design a variety of creative learning experiences, right? Now, we saw how things have evolved over the years, right? We've moved on from the industrial age and then to the information age and then into the digital age. What futurists or experts are saying now is that we are in the experience age. In order for a student to truly learn a concept or a topic or a lesson, we have to be geared towards designing learning experiences. It's more than just simply them going through the lessons and learning the way that they traditionally or normally do, but really coming up with quality experiences, meaning mind, senses, a body, everything that they have in learning a topic must be used for them to be really seeing how their education is relevant or pertinent to them. Second, as teachers, you also have to create physically and emotionally safe spaces. Teachers, nagkakagulo po sa Russia at sa Ukraine, no? We are still in the pandemic, no? Many of their parents and their guardians have been impacted by the pandemic, maybe in terms of work opportunities being lessened or even losing it, or maybe a lot of our students have also experienced losses in their families or in their communities. So more than ever, it's important to be able to create physically and emotionally safe spaces. And if we want to be able to approach using the whole child manner to education, our students in the classroom, so that they will really make the most out of education, this is something that you really have to be able to strive to achieve, to create physically and emotionally safe spaces. And of course, katulad din po ng ibang seminars or webinars ng KTS, no, with all the tech that's being shared and with all the new approaches that's being demonstrated to you, we always hear a lot about student voice and choice. So you are also encouraged to promote independence and student-led decision making. Give them the power to design or to determine the journey of their learning, and that way they will have more ownership. That way they will take more responsibility about the things that they're learning in school. And you will find that by doing this, the impact will just be outstanding later on. Okay, so trend two, according to our experts, is that more than ever, we should adopt a whole child approach to education. And these are some of the ways by which you, in your own classrooms and in your own schools, may be able to do it. Okay, now, a very outstanding teacher by the name of Ramil Buenaventura, who's based in New York City. He's a math teacher. Won just a few years ago the Big Apple Award from the New York City Department of Education. Why or how? Because he basically uses rap, dance, games, and apps to teach algebra. So again, go ahead and search him or look up his videos on YouTube, and you will find the different techniques that Ramil Buenaventura uses to engage his students who are in New York. We know that in the States, the classrooms are more diverse than many of the classrooms that we have here. So it's more challenging to really come up with activities that will engage the students. And because of all these things that he's doing, because of his very creative and whole child approaches to teaching the students that he's been implementing in class, he was finally recognized by the state Department of Education and got the Big Apple Award. No, I'm sure in your own ways there are also so many things that you do to engage your students, and continue doing that. Continue engaging them, using and tapping into their different senses to be able to win them over to your side more and more, so to speak, right? So do read about Ramil, and we can find that his examples, his strategies are things that will work all the time for you. So again, dear teachers, I'd like to remind you, just like Ramil, no, being world class is being Filipino. No, we don't have to be total experts also, right, in many of the things that we all creatively do as teachers. But when you're the Filipino teacher, knowing very well what the context of the students are, where they're coming from, what it is they need, and how you adjust your strategies to meet them the best way possible, then go ahead and do it. When you become that Filipino teacher in the classroom, you are being world class yourself. Okay? All right. Let's move to the third trend. And experts, again, from Brookings Institute, based in Washington, are saying, particularly Beth King, is that we as teachers or school heads should prepare deliberately for disruptions. And that no matter what happens, pandemic, natural disaster, terrorism, impact of war, right? We have to be able to come up with ways to continue learning for students, and at the same time be able to demonstrate resilience in adversity. The past 2 years of the COVID pandemic, have seen education systems throughout the globe struggle ways to continue schooling. We have seen public health crisis, natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, and severe storms, and wars and terrorism in different parts of the world. Over the last 2 years, we have had quick fixes with little preparation, but these are not effective approaches for sustaining and advancing learning gains. No, in the advent of technology, there are many more ways to meet the challenges of future emergency situations, and we have learned in the last 2 years how we can go about addressing this situation more and more. So alam na natin to, teachers, napagdaanan na natin to, right? And we have experimented with so many ways. We have seen how schools have adopted unique and creative strategies to make learning continuity possible. But what else can you do? How else can you address it? When we go back to normal, are we just happy settling ourselves back to the old ways of doing things, or should we continue moving and thinking forward to be able to address whatever situation will come our way? So do prepare deliberately for disruptions. In the Philippines, in our classes or in our schools, this is what we have to be able to do, no? Build knowledge, skills, and attitudes, not just as a teacher, but even for students and parents, na kung experience natin yung susunod na natural disaster or pandemic, right? How should we be viewing the situation? Who should be taking the lead? No? How should we be addressing the gaps in learning that we are experiencing? So continue to build that in your lessons, whether they're in English or in math or in science or social sciences. There are always entry points by which you can build all these knowledge, skills, and attitudes into the lessons that will help them prepare deliberately for disruptions. Next is to develop a futuristic thinking mindset. Ano po ang ibig sabihin ng futuristic thinking mindset? We're not talking about coming up with ways that will make our schools really look, high tech or futuristic, but instead making sure that our processes are enhanced to make school systems work. Now we know that the school nurse or the school doctor will play a bigger role now in the way we handle, the situations or the context of students. Now that you are a teacher inside the classroom, you'll also have to be very conscious or aware of the health, both physical and mental, of the students, right? And you have to be able to show your repertoire of skills and talents, right? And technical knowledge in assisting the students when they say that, they encountered someone at home who was sick of COVID, or when they're recovering from a certain problem that they experience in their community, right? Go how does this apply to them? And when you apply a futuristic thinking mindset, you will help your students become more resilient. You will help your students learn how to be able to manage themselves better and to be able to continue their learning. I was in Singapore a few years ago, and I remember interacting with a government office they had there, dear teachers. Alam niyo po yung pangalan ng office nila? It's the Center for Strategic Futures. May ganong opisina po sa Singapore, and all they do is envision, the future of different aspects of society. If it's public works, if it's infrastructure, if it's technology, if it's education, they look at different scenarios and plan accordingly for them. Ganyan din po din dapat tayo sa ating mga sarili sa classroom at sa paaralan. What will help our schools not just survive but even thrive, no matter what storm, what problem, what crisis comes our way. So you have to be able to see, right, and use examples in the classroom, or your lessons in class, to be able to build all these knowledge, skills, and attitudes among your students. So we prepare deliberately for disruptions. Okay? And again, being Filipino tells us that when we prepare, we know what's coming our way. We are equipping ourselves by attending webinars like this, care of KTS or care of Kaagapay. We are learning more and more on how to become better educators. We are preparing ourselves and our students for the future. You are being world-class that way. You are being anticipating of the different things that will come your way. So again, I'd like to remind you that, again, being world-class is something that you can easily achieve when you simply become that excellent Filipino teacher in the classroom and in your schools. And I'd like to share with you the story of another outstanding teacher from Presidio, Texas, and her name is Sheila Condino. No? What Sheila did was she founded the Presidio Rocket Club while teaching about the physics of rockets and aerodynamics to students in Presidio, Texas. Ang Presidio po sa Texas is not a very wealthy district, so there are many students coming from marginalized families, right? And so because she saw the seeming hopelessness among the students, and because they were very near the NASA facility, or the National Aeronautics and Space Administration facility, what Sheila did was, pique their interest and built that club, so that even if there were poor students in the community, she was able to really inspire them and challenge them to create their own rockets in school. And because of her efforts to talk to them about how to build rockets and how to get through all those challenges that they were experiencing, she was recognized as the Aerospace Education Teacher of the Year by the U.S. National Aviation Office when she received that award a few years ago. So nothing stopped her from reaching out to these students who were financially challenged, thought of something that would bring them together, thought of something that was really felt in the context of their communities, and she was duly recognized for that. And until this day, she goes around different schools talking about her experience in creating or organizing the rocket club that she founded in her school district. So it's another exciting example, no, of a Filipino educator making waves, preparing for disruptions or addressing the current situation that students in her area were experiencing. So, with that example, we go to the fourth trend, and this is transforming education systems. Okay, going into the year of COVID, Brad Olson, again from the Brookings Institute, based in Washington, D.C., says that he's interested in seeing whether countries will transform their education systems or largely leave them the way they are. And what is being said is that schools have to undergo structural improvement, multimodal delivery, naku po, lagi po nating naririnig yan, at the use of technology with strong pedagogy. When we talk about structural improvement, how are our schools adopting the different changes that are being presented to them, that are available to schools? How is learning and instruction and assessment delivered? How are they carried out in different modes? And finally, how are we ensuring that as we use technology, there's still, very strong, very focused, very aligned pedagogy that teachers are fully aware of? In schools here, we have to be able to look at it this way. First, dear teachers, we have to be able to explore and even embrace the new roles of a teacher. Not only are you a sage on the stage, but now you're finding yourselves more as a guide on the side. Because as you explore the new roles of a teacher, you find out, right, that you're not just delivering content or sharing information with your students, but you're assuming the role of a facilitator, of a mentor, more and more. And as we see it, right, these roles maybe are new to us, or we're still learning how to do it. But at the same time, we have to embrace it. We have to really take it upon ourselves to embrace these new roles of a teacher. And very recently, we can say that we're also content creators, instructional designers, video editors, guidance counselors, even because of the many things that are happening at such a fast pace in the education industry. So when we want to be able to transform our education system, according to experts, you have to be able to see structural improvement. And here in the Philippines, we have to explore and embrace new roles of a teacher and show flexibility in delivering instruction. And finally, also, dear teachers, we have to remember that we have to emphasize on learning with or without technology. Kahit po walang gadgets or devices ang mga bata, but because we're designing all ways by which we can reach out to them through different modes. I know that in the public schools, students are categorized according to the mode of learning that they choose, right? Let's still remain focused on the learning of the students. And let's also be very honest about the learning gaps, about the students that fall through the cracks. Hindi po ibig sabihin na pag nakakuha na po ng module at nasagutan po, natutunan po talaga yung content from the materials. What are ways by which we can really check and assess how students are learning from the different modes that we are implementing? So we have to remember that at the end of the day, we have to emphasize on learning with or without technology, and that the tech and the devices, the apps, the programs, the software that we use are just our means to our end. And our end goal really is for the students to stay focused and to keep learning. Not whatever it is, whatever resources it is that you have at your disposal, at the end of the day po, ang learning pa rin po ang primary and ultimate goal natin for our students. So trend 4 talks about transforming education systems. And I can't think of anyone better to demonstrate transforming educational systems as an exemplar or as an outstanding teacher than Dr. Josette Bio? I'm sure for the teachers who are in the audience, especially the science teachers, you might have encountered the outstanding and great work that Dr. Josette Bio has done in the Philippine science high school system. But what she basically did was to develop an educational philosophy that fosters a culture of science. So everything that they do, you know, always contributes to learning science, in a very profound, in a very deep way. And that the methodology that she put in place encouraged students to adopt not just learning, but even life behaviors. And because of her outstanding work, kasi po teacher si Dr. Bio, pag nagtuturo po siya ng biology, dinadala po niya yung mga estudyante sa mangrove areas, no? Pag nagtuturo po siya ng animal life or conservation or preservation of marine resources, dinadala po niya yung mga bata sa mga beach sa Iloilo. And there, the learning comes to life. She uses the sand as her blackboard. She holds and swims with them, right? She goes, with them into all these adventures, into all these journeys in the mountains and whatever setting it is that takes them, just to be able to show them that, she's really immersed and that she can really walk the talk, right? And on using actual items in the environment, she uses those things to teach them very well. And because of that kind of work, a planet was named after her when she won the International Excellence in Teaching Award sponsored by Intel during the International Science and Engineering Fair, I think in Portland, Oregon, in the United States. A minor planet was named after Dr. Bio, and that's now called Planet Bio. So if you'd want to be able to look into more information about her or watch videos about her, you can see where in the solar system you can find Planet Bio. But that is another case, dear teachers, of an outstanding Pinoy teacher working with the resources that she has, harnessing the talent of the people around her, her co-teachers, her students, school stakeholders, to transform the type of education system that they have in the Philippine high school, in Western Visayas. And that has really reaped so much awards for her, but at the same time, really shaped the way students, in her institution view science, view learning, view their education as a whole. And because of her efforts, those are the things that she was able to do. And you can do that as well. Even when you're a teacher, and if you think, there's something worthwhile doing, if something innovative that can be done, if there's something that will really impact the way students view, their learning or themselves, go ahead and do it, right? Because being a Filipino teacher, being the creative and innovative Filipino in your respective schools, when you do that, when you take the courage and the initiative to introduce these new things, you are definitely showing that you are world class as well. So just like Dr. Bio, dear teachers, when we become Filipino educators in our classrooms doing all these things, we are also being world-class teachers in that regard. Now, trend 5 is training teachers to be 21st century educators. Okay. As we have seen how learning and teaching have dramatically changed in the last 2 years, we have also seen how teachers have also changed in terms of how to advance professionally or how to grow in terms of professional development. And more, just like Agapay here, we are seeing that teachers learn and collaborate and network more and more. Katulad po natin ngayon, never did we realize that we would have the chance to easily interact, with teachers from Zamboanga, from the island garden city of Samar, from Pangasinan, right? From the schools that are represented in this webinar. So nag-uusap po tayo ng mas madalas. We are collaborating more and more. We are sharing our knowledge and ideas more than ever. And we are networking, not just to become better teachers, but how to make our schools so much different, so much improved than they were before. And we are engaged in weekly or even daily conversations about how these things can be done. So we have to train ourselves to be 21st century educators. That's the fifth trend that's being mentioned. And of course, we also talk about the many ways by which we can develop ourselves through availing of online courses. And that's why I'd like to take a few minutes also to talk about what we in Acadesia are doing for teachers, not just in the Philippines, but even in the Southeast Asia or even in the Asian region. So, how do we do that in the Philippines? Well, we gain access to online professional development courses. Hindi na po yung magsasign up po tayo sa seminar, then pupunta po tayo sa hotel or sa venue or sa restaurant where you have a number of hours that you have to complete for professional development. No, there are online PD or professional development courses available. And that's what we offer in Acadesia. Mamaya pag i-share ko pa po yun kung ano po yung mga yon. Second, dear teachers, there are so many ways to build your international network of educators. Teachers from Indonesia, Vietnam, India, Singapore, Malaysia, even in the United States. There are so many ways to talk to them, to reach out to them, to learn from them, and to exchange notes and ideas with them. So take advantage of these opportunities. And later, through our platform, I'll share with you how that can be done. And also is to improve school systems through blockchain services. Ano po yan? Mamaya papaliwanag ko po yan kung ano po yung sinasabi nating blockchain that can also help the digital transformation journey of schools. So trend 5 is that there should be a lot of work and initiative in training yourselves to be 21st century educators. And that can be done through learning and collaborating and networking and taking advantage of online professional development courses and establishing your international network of educators. And I'd like to share with you outstanding Pinoy teachers and entrepreneurs as well, like Neil and Kat Batia. Ito po yung mga kasama ko sa Acadesia. Neil is Indian pero Pinoy na Pinoy po yan by heart. And Kat is Pinay, no? And what they did was that they founded Acadesia. Ito po yung grupo namin where the mission is simply to democratize education by making teacher training accessible and affordable to all. At the same time, they also support schools in their digital transformation journey. Si Neil and si Kat, marami po silang naging mga negosyo before. Pero yung business po nila ngayon is what they call Acadesia. And basically what it is that it's a learning and networking platform for Filipino teachers and teachers all over the world. So kunyari po, may opportunity to collaborate with other teachers in the platform that they created, that is possible. If there's an opportunity to take online professional courses written by top content writers and developers through the platform of Acadesia, magagawa din po yon. And so katulad din po nung effort nila to make sure that the mission is to make teacher training and accessible and affordable to all. Tayo po, pag uma-attend po tayo dito sa Pilipinas ng seminar, usually po ang binabayaran po natin, no? Ang range po ng seminar would be in the range of 2,500 to 3,000 pesos, right? For a face-to-face webinar. The way that the seminars or webinars in Acadesia are done, 1,000 pesos lang po per year. You have access to all 50 plus courses on their platform for professional development. And these are accredited by PRC and an accrediting organization in the United Kingdom. And the courses also have corresponding CPD units. So instead of paying that much, na 2,500 or 3,000 for these courses, through the work of Neil and Kat and our team in Acadesia, for just 1,000 pesos a year, more than 50 courses po for professional development ang pwede nyong ma-avail. But there are also free courses that may be accessed, and I'll be talking about that in a bit. So what are we saying here? So sina Neil and Kat, Filipino educators and entrepreneurs also went out of their way to come up with strategies and ways to support teachers. And because they saw the trend that teachers should be trained to be 21st century educators, their solutions help achieve that and help you be able to achieve or help you have affordable access to professional development. Now, yun po din po sa AcadAsia, dear teachers, there are around 160,000 teachers on the platform. From more than 35 countries. So as I said, it's like Facebook, but for teachers. You will be able to have access and connect with more than 160,000 teachers coming from 35 different countries. And the courses are basically on the palm of your hand, 24/7 dahil online po siya. You will learn at your own time and own pace, so you don't have to wait for a schedule to gain access to these courses. You also learn by doing, because when you take the courses, you will find that there are built-in tools that will also allow you to author or design your online courses for yourselves and for your students. There is a LinkedIn group on the platform that will help you connect with other teachers, where you can communicate and network with them and share ideas with them, and you will always earn certificates for all courses that are completed successfully. So ito po yung part ng AcadAsia, ng free Jew, right? Through the efforts of Neil and Kat that they're doing to make teacher training accessible to all. And if you're keen to learn more, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, kana Franco, Pao, and Jello. If you're keen to learn more, please go ahead, dear teachers, and sign up for Free Jew version 2.0. Libre po ang pag-sign up. You may go to acadasia.com. That will bring you to the platform. And if you access the course, The Future of Education, Helping Teachers Stay Relevant, you will get more information about the things that I'm talking about, and you will get an AcadAsia certificate on top of the Agapay certificate that you will be receiving by simply attending this course. So when you go to the platform and sign up for a free account, and you go to the course, The Future of Education, Helping Teachers Stay Relevant, where you will get more info about the things I'm talking about now, magkakaroon din po kayo ng AcadAsia certificate to add to your list of professional credentials and certificates. Jake Jacob is saying na may understanding siya about blockchain, and exactly, Jake, because the certificate that you will be receiving will be blockchain certified. Katulad po niyan, may kita po natin yung QR code dun sa certificate. That means your certificate may be verified. When you click the QR code, it will show that it is an authentic certificate that can be verified by the organizers. Hindi lang po Photoshop or nirekto, so to speak, right? But ang lahat po ng certificates that will be offered are blockchain certified. So there's no way that the certificate may be changed or hacked or cheated in the system. And when you go and apply, or when you present this certificate to maybe schools that you will be applying for later, all the employer has to do is to scan the QR code, and it will be recorded or reflected in the records that you indeed were able to complete that course. No? So going back po, ito po yung magiging itsura when you sign in. This is the Free Jew landing page or homepage. When you go to acadasia.com, simpleng-simple lang po ang mag-sign in. You will just use your chosen username or email address, put your email address there and choose your password, and then you will sign in. And then when you go to Skill Ed where the courses are seen, simply go to the Future of Education. Ganyan po ang itsura niyan. Click on it, finish the course, and then you will receive your certificate of completion. That is blockchain certified. But at the same time, dear teachers, if you want to explore the other courses that we have, please go on. There are 20 plus free courses for you. May take advantage of this opportunity to really learn about how to become a better teacher. There are so many options to choose from, and you will always get your blockchain verifiable or certifiable completion certificate after you complete or after you accomplish the course. So ganito po ang itsura niyan. So you see, when you are issued the certificate, you will see the title of the course that you were able to complete. You will see that there's a verify button there that can link you to all the things, to all the courses that you will have completed. And it will be a digital record of all your achievements on the platform. Ganun din po yung ino-offer din po namin sa AcadAsia, dear teachers, and perhaps it's something that all schools can also consider. We are not just able to put blockchain services on certificates of completion by AcadAsia, but even on certificates that your school issues. So whether they're graduation diplomas or certificates of attendance or student activity certificates or other things that you issue certificates for, AcadAsia can help the school set up that blockchaining service or system for them. So imagine yung lahat po ng mga mag-aaral, lahat po ng bata, no? Pagka gusto po nila makita lahat po ng certificate na natanggap nila from your school or institution, and with AcadAsia's help in that digital setup, the student will be able to get a quick list of all the certificates that he or she was able to receive throughout her years of schooling in your institution. And that's something amazing. That's something awesome. Nung sinasabi po ito sa akin ni Neil, nagulat din po ako na posible po pala yun. But that's something in place because just imagine, hindi na po natin kailangang itabi yung hard copies na nakukuha po natin every time we attend a seminar, right? And be able to compile them for promotion purposes or for other things that we need those certificates for later. So what it just needs, or what it basically gives you, is a digital record of all the things you were able to accomplish, that you received certificates for, and through the blockchain service offered by AcadAsia, magagawa rin po yun for both teachers and students and the school. So if you think that's something, that will really help you and will really help your students, will be more than willing to assist you and to help you set that up. Okay? So yun po ang quick discussion on how Neil and Kat, through their innovation, through the way they do things, also shows, that by being Filipino, by being innovative, being tech equipped, being ready all the time, and coming up with solutions that can help schools, be on the cusp of all these developments and changes and innovations. They're also showing how it is to be world-class. They're also assisting or demonstrating how it is to be on the top of the game with all the things that they're doing for teachers and for the schools. Okay. So, maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. At the end of the day, dear teachers, yun lang po ang gusto nating maalala. Being Filipino, being the Filipino teacher that you are, is equals being world-class in everything that you do. And remember the trends that I've shared with you today. Unti-unti po, we will work on continuously improving the way we run our classrooms and our schools, right? And we will really show that we are, meeting those world-class standards out there. Okay, so maraming salamat, and we can now take questions.
Ayan, maraming salamat Sir Jake no for that definitely no that wonderful presentation on. Actually nag-notes na ako kasi parang feeling ko lahat ng mga trends na binanggit ni Sir Jake no are worthy of being a webinar on its own. Okay? So we'll definitely take note.
Ayan. Actually, nakita nga namin yun. Sir Jake, sabi nga namin, brewing na ata yung mga susunod na webinars. Kasi parang title na nga yung mga na-share mo eh. Pwede na siyang title ng mga susunod na webinar.
Yes, no. Parang ano na to, May series na actually, no, sinabi ko sa mga teachers, no, an entire May series na kagad, no. Kasi may April series na, so May series na
Correct.
kagad.
Pwedeng manganap ng topics pa, no?
Yes,
Sir Pao,
indeed,
Miss
no.
Pao. Kasi we can talk about, VR and how they're used, no? Pero madali nang matutunan kasi yun eh, right? But there are also many things on school levels, right? Na nakikita rin natin na pwede ring applicable for teachers use in the classroom. So kaya ganun yung approach natin in this short discussion.
Yes, no. Okay, ako personally talaga ang isa sa dalawa sa pinaka nagustuhan ko talaga dun sa trends that was mentioned by Sir Jake was definitely the data-driven education. I think it's one of the things na underappreciated ng some of our educators, no? Okay? Pero napaka-powerful kasi niya if given a chance na we collect data. And actually, Sir Jake, we have been collecting a lot of data, just to be
Yes.
honest, no? Especially the teachers from the public school system. There's like tons of data every time because most of their assessments no, or information are being collected by their supervisors. Okay? Ang siguro nagkukulang lang minsan is that hindi talaga nagagamit yung mga data na yun. Okay? And minsan yun yung sana ma-solve ng natin ng mga ng higher ups natin sa education that if we ask a data to be collected is we actually use it no yun yung natin, okay? And of course yung pinag-usapan namin sa background kanina yung disruption resilient education no? Yung for our education to start realizing na hindi na tayo pwedeng like nasa comfort zone lagi, like hoping na things will be ideal or good. Because the truth is that it's not. It's going to be disruptive. We're going to have typhoons. We're going to have earthquakes. We're going to have, hopefully not another pandemic, but who knows? That's still no, remains to be a possibility. Okay. How about you, Teacher Pao, Teacher Jello?
Yeah, actually yung shinare nga ni Sir Jake, no. It's very light, no. The presentation of Sir Jake was very light, but at the same time, it hits your core, inspiring you, no, what else you can do. Kasi right now, I'm sure our teachers are already upskilling themselves, no. With kabi-kabila na yan. Ngayon pa lang, dami na nag-sign up, Sir Jake, sa Accadation, di ba? So parang hindi natatapos talaga yung learning process, no? So it's really an avenue for the teachers to get inspired. Lalo na nagpakita ka ng mga people, no, who made it, no? Who are really world class, no? So talagang nakaka-inspire na kung kaya nilang gawin in our own context, meron din tayong magagawa, 'di ba? So in more ways than one, our teachers can definitely do something and inspire more people at the same time, no? So na-inspire sila dito, tapos sila naman ang mang-i-inspire ng iba pa, no? And everything, it just rolls and it's paying it forward. So yun, so sobrang yun ang takeaway ko dito sa event na to.
Oo, that's right. Ms. Pao, it shouldn't end here, di ba, dear teachers? It shouldn't end here. Kung ano man yung, hindi nyo naman po maalala lahat nung diniscuss natin, di ba? Pero kung may isang bagay lang, na babaunin nyo pagbalik nyo sa school or pagbalik nyo sa Monday, when you hold your meetings or, when you go about your daily work as teachers, alin sa mga yun kaya yung pwede nang i-apply, in their own ways, in their own small activities that can help, move the needle a bit, right? Oo, so yun yung gusto nating ma-achieve din doon. Pero ang galing ng mga teachers abroad, no? Oo, they're really outstanding.
Ayun. Ako naman, Sir Jake, tulad nung kay Sir Franco nung, ah, mga takeaways ko is number one, yun nga 'no, sa, preparing deliberately for disruptions. Kasi there is that thinking na yun nga, maraming gustong bumalik na sa dati, 'di ba? Pero parang hindi na tayo puwedeng bumalik lang sa dati. Kasi
Correct.
iba na, iba na 'no, where we have to look forward, we have to prepare. Yun nga,
Mm,
that for the disruptions that will come in, and hindi na puwede nung kunyari 'pag may pandemya naman o may nangyari naman, stop na naman tayo tapos mag-start ulit tayo from scratch. So, kailangan yung preparation natin tuloy-tuloy na rin, eh. Ang siguro ako, Sir Jake, may question lang ako kasi nabanggit rin ni Sir Franco a while ago yung data-driven, and
yes,
yun nga, ang dami nating kinokolekta.
correct.
Pero ako kasi personally parang isa sa mga nagiging challenges na nakikita ko at ako rin mismo parang how can I kasi siguro maybe we don't feel that we're not that equipped to
Right.
utilize that kasi baka wala akong sapat na kakayahan to
Mm,
analyze it and everything. Ano kaya nung puwedeng gawin ng mga teachers? Because yun nga, tulad ng binanggit ni Sir Franco, and I believe all our teachers have gathered a lot of data.
right.
Pero tulad nung sa experience na mga experience natin or experience ko personally, marami akong data pero hindi ko naman siya nagagamit kasi may
Mm,
thinking ako na, kaya ko bang ma-deduce yung,
right.
yung data for it to be more, 'di ba, usable para sa future. Siguro ano nung puwede kayang, take away or puwedeng ibahagi niyo, sir, para
Mm,
mas magkaroon ng lakas ng loob yung mga teachers natin na hindi panghinana, "Stop, kasi hindi ko alam paano gagawin dito sa data na 'to."
mm. That's right. Thanks, Sir Jello and Sir Franco for bringing that up. Tama, no? Ang dami nating kinokolekta, ginagather na data. And while we do receive some feedback or some results, our desire also is to see deeper interpretation, no? Yung mas malalim na kahulugan or interpretasyon ng mga datos na kinokolekta natin. And I think, Sir Jello, as a response to your question, the first step that the teachers can do, kunyari, you're not that confident about deducing the data, is to bring it into your conversations in your respective departments or into your respective teams. No? Pag-usapan nyo, aling aling part nung lesson or nung test nakita natin na the performance of the students really lagged as compared to other parts of the test, and what was the reason behind that, no? And so you can start talking about it more and more. It doesn't have to be a statistical treatment or a very technical approach of regression analysis that you'll do, di ba? Kunyari, yung mga nagtithesis, alam natin yan. Hindi naman ganun yung gusto natin ma-achieve agad-agad, right? Even if you have, software or apps that can help you do those things, the initial steps that can be done is, maybe by just breaking down the performance of the students, looking at the basic percentages of the performance, that can help inform your decisions, and that can help inform your intervention programs, no? At the same time, if you're the school leader, you might also want to consider introducing, that kind of appreciation for data in the meetings that you hold. 'Di ba? Hindi lang lagi puro trickle down, right? Na ito yung sinabi ng principal, ito yung sinabi ng director or directress. But in your own group, what is it with data that you can do, right? To help your team or to help your teaching get better, no? Dati ginawa ko 'yan eh. I remember because I was the principal of the senior high school, we compared math scores of animation students, software development students, multimedia art students, and even fashion design students. And we did see, no? Kasi at first suspicion lang, pagka art siguro yung field, they might not be too inclined, in the different math subjects, right? And so we ran a survey, we did correlation, right? Pero simple lang yun. Tinignan lang namin kung, in a class of animation and multimedia art students, how many of them scored above a certain level in the test. And nakita nga namin na there are differences, major differences in mathematics performance for software and robotic students compared to our fashion design and our multimedia art students. So anong ginawa namin with that? Di pinalitan ko yung teachers na nagtuturo ng math dun sa art students and to be able to simplify it. And one of the teachers I remember na ginawa niya yon because they were also teaching statistics, Sir Pao, Sir Angelo, and Sir Franco, ang ginawa ng teacher na yon who was teaching statistics to fashion students, because again, they're not that into math, he used data from the Miss Universe pageant that year. Okay? So yun yung data na ginamit. And I just saw how the performance changed. How they were very engaged after the teacher took some effort, to use data from Miss Universe to talk to fashion design students or to use them as the examples in their statistics classes. So yun, something as simple as that led, to a big difference in the way the students were appreciating and learning math and statistics at that time. Yeah. So ganun lang, Sir Jello. Something small but can, really change the approaches and strategies that will best meet students where they are.
Okay. Sir Jake, meron lang tayong isang question dito from teacher Joseph Odalon Hermetania. Okay. This one is on, sorry Teacher Pao, no? Pagiging top notcher or top 1 ba sa board or bar examination ay may tuturing na isang global innovation. Ano po ang opinion niyo dito?
Ako kasi, if I were to, let's say, design the LET, no? I think dapat mag-demo nga ang teacher instead of just taking the exam. Because there are many things that you don't see in the exams that are really essential or needed for the profession. Ganun din sa bar exam. I remember it was Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago who was saying that other than a written exam, what she also wanted was to have a part where the bar examinees would conduct an oral litigation or an investigation of a certain case, right? So, Joseph, while we do recognize the hard work and the commitment to studying, of people who top the board or the bar exams, when we talk about global innovation, it entails so many other things, right? So we have to see kung yung mga ideas ba nung tao are attuned to the situation or aligned to the context, right? And sometimes these things cannot be seen through performance in tests also, right? So we want to be able to test people more on how they are responsive to modern times or present day situations that need our attention.
May mga intangible factors na sa
Yes,
education.
correct.
Hindi siya
Correct.
talaga nakukuha lang sa test. Okay? Kasi madaming things happens na, and of course the experience as well will
Correct.
come in. So yan, maraming salamat Sir Jake. No, I don't think we have questions unless we have questions also from our administrators. Okay? Ayan, Teacher Pau, meron ka bang question or Teacher Jello? Kasi sa chat,
Go
Go
sa
ahead.
chat wala. Pero ako ang tanong ko, kailan yung susunod na webinar ni Sir Jake? Kasi for sure, isa dyan sa mga topics na yan, mako-cover na ni Sir Jake.
Parang, aabangan na, no? Parang aabangan na, no?
No, actually,
Sir Jake,
Ms. Pao, sabi ko nga kay Sir Franco, Acadesia will collaborate with Kaagapay Pwede natin pagsamahin yung teachers ng Kaagapay with teachers of Acadesia, our network of teachers from all over the region. And maybe we can engage everyone in discussions para mabigyan po ng pagkakataon ang lahat, no, to interact with each other. Let's think about that, and we can set it up.
Hindi na lang pala webinar ang nabubro ngayon, pati collaboration na.
Yes, no? And we're excited for the Teacher Pao, no? Kasi siyempre sobrang laki ng Acadesia, no? It's a full different level of providing support for educators. At siguro last question, no? At medyo since nabanggit ni Sir Jake kanina yung Miss Universe, medyo pang Miss Universe ang katanungan na to, no? Sir Jake, ano po ang number one advice niyo for aspiring teachers? Kasi marami rin po tayo ngayon dito ng mga student teachers doing their practicums, finishing their academics to become a teacher.
Okay, to those who are finishing their practicum or taking education, no, you could not have chosen a better course, no, you could not have chosen a better career path than this one, because more and more, unlike before, no, Ms. Pao, Sir Franco, Sir Jello, being a teacher now, ang daming opportunities, right? Ang daming ways to learn, ang daming pagkakataon to improve yourself and to really change the way students are thinking, are behaving, are shaping society. But just like any other profession, there are many challenges. No? There are many things that we will find along the way. But just like what I've also been sharing with teachers, at the end of the day, pag pagod na kayo, pag maraming obstacles at paghihirap, no? At the end of the day, when you see that one child or that one student who tells you that may natutunan siya sa'yo, may baon siya from your class, may something inspiring na nakuha yung bata from you, that's the ultimate prize that you can receive as a teacher. Our success as teachers is dependent on the success of our students. Alam niyo yun, hindi tayo nagbibilang ng achievements in intangible form, right? When we see our students successful, we also see ourselves successful. And it's the best feeling ever. No? It's the best and most fulfilling emotion that a person can ever have. So that's my advice to you. Tuloy-tuloy nyo lang yan, no? To the education graduates. And unlike before, nung kami mga bagong teachers, matatanda na yan, sina Miss Pao, sina Sir Franco, sina Sir Jello, di ba? We didn't have this kind of network, di ba? We didn't have this kind of support. Ngayon, pwede niyong i-email si Sir Franco mismo or ako or si Miss Pao or other teachers in the chat box to ask, ano po ba yung tips na pwede nating gawin? Ano po ba yung diskarte na pwede nating gawin na maging teacher, right? You have that now and take advantage of that, no? And that will sustain you and help you become the best teacher that you can be. Katulad din nung title natin, di ba? Yun nga, magiging kaagapay talaga tayo sa isa't isa, ang guro para sa iba.
Yes, and our 2022 Mr. Universe.
Oo, yan. Salamat.
may nanalo na, napakagandang sagot. Maraming salamat, Sir Jake, for that answer, no? Okay, and again, teachers, I don't see any more questions, no? So please, let's send our thanks to our speaker for today for a very informative session, okay, and of course, well delivered session for today. And but before, please do send that in the chat para mas maramdaman ni Sir Jake yung ating warmth na sa community. But again, abangan po natin yung collaboration ng Acadesia at Kaagapay. We'll definitely be on it in the coming days or weeks, okay? And we'll deliver to you more sessions here at Kaagapay, the teacher support plus Acadesia later on, okay? But to also show our appreciation as a community, we'd like to also present this certificate of appreciation. May I ask Sir Jello to please do read our citation for Sir Jake.
Yeah. So, certificate of appreciation. The certificate of appreciation is respectfully awarded to Sir Jake Aragon for sharing his knowledge and expertise in the recently concluded webinar entitled Contextualizing Global Trends and Innovations in Education, awarded on March 5, 2022, signed by your administrators, myself po, Sir Joseph Angelo M. Santos, Miss Pau, and Sir Franco Adun. So, Sir Jake, congratulations po ulit. Thank you po.
Thank you very much for having me again. Hindi po ako magsasawa.
And soon ulit, no? And of course, Sir Jake, no, as always, we'd like to ask your short message for our teachers as we continue. Right now, more and more schools are doing pilot testing of hybrid hyflex. For some schools, it's called blendflex, no? Different
Oh,
combinations. Anyway, the idea is that we are now being more, we are now like testing the waters as we go back to in-person teaching. So go ahead, Sir Jake.
oh yes. I know that many public schools will be coming back to on-site classes mid-March, right? And a few private schools that have been given clearance by DepEd are also setting up, their high flex, hybrid, kung ano-anong tawag, no, Sir Franco, na mode, no, of learning and delivery. But teachers, just like what we talked about earlier, nandyan na yan eh. Di ba? uh, if we still aspire to go back to the way things were before the pandemic, matatagalan pa po yan. No? Baka hindi pa natin makita yan, in the coming year or in 2 years, right? But we have to support our heads, our department chairs, our co-teachers more and more in carrying out our work, our very crucial and important work of education in the new normal. Let's embrace it. Let's, support it. Wag po tayo kumontra ng kumontra because our teachers, our heads are also doing their best that they can. No? We also have to understand where students and parents are coming from. Kami po, ni na Sir Franco, ni na Sir Jello, mga magulang, hindi rin namin alam, no, kung papapasukin namin yung mga anak namin, no, without asking the right questions to the teachers. So your patience more and more is required, right? And we know that. So what I'm really saying is that we come together, we support each other. It takes a village, to get this done. Wag natin sisihin kung may maling desisyon or policy yung principal or yung head na inintroduce in returning back to school. Kung meron man, then let's be brave enough to air our concern and tell them how things can be better. Minsan kasi yun eh, di ba yung sinasabi natin, the problem with public opinion is that it's privately expressed, no? Puro sa Marites lang kinikwento, di ba? Pero hindi naman sinasabi in the right channels. But your idea might be the best way, right? Might be the best strategy to address the current problems or issues that we're facing. So let's all be supportive of each other and maging matapang, maging discerning and reflective din tayo in the things that we're doing because at the end of the day, this will be for the good of the students more than anyone or more than anything else.
And maraming salamat, Sir Jake. And of course, na teachers will now say our goodbye. No? This will not be the last time definitely. Kasi nga
Yes.
magkakaroon pa ng collaboration ang Acadesia at KTS. No? So we'll definitely have Sir Jake back, no, to our community once again. But again, Sir Jake, no, please do know that we appreciate your time, your expertise. We always, this is your second time and parang lalo lang kaming na-excite sa mga sessions mo on the coming months here at KTS. So maraming salamat po ulit. Ayan,
Thank you, Franco, Jello, Ms. Pau, and all the teachers who are here. Huwag din kayong magmi-miss ng KTS webinars.
Thank you, Sir Jake.
Yan, maraming salamat po, Sir Jake. And again, teachers, okay, that would actually be it no, for our after. Pero bago siguro tayo magpaalam, would like to invite everyone to our next webinar, no, our session on Thursday. That will be on education in Europe, no, trends, innovation, and best practices. So naman, malalaman natin no, what's being done by schools in Europe. No? And our speaker will be Sir Bogdan Kopil. Actually, from Ed Puzzle, si Sir Bogdan, no? But experience is from the Americas and the European schools. Okay, so we will have that on Thursday, our usual schedule on Thursday next week. Okay, so teachers, okay, we are now ready for our evaluation. Okay, so please do check if your this evaluation link is working. Okay, as you evaluate or send your comments and assessments. Okay, to our session for today. Ayan. Okay, and while we're doing that and while we're waiting for confirmation from our teachers if it's working, it's working na ako. Ang bilis talaga Teacher Pao, no? Talagang auto-check kagad ng link si Teacher Pao. Pero Teacher Pao tsaka Sir Jello, na bago siguro tayo mag-close is, pili na kayo ng topic for May series. So, meron tayong 5 topics, okay? Data-driven, okay? Education, whole child approach, disruption, resilient education, transformative. Ganun na kagad, meron na kagad assignments. Pero in all honesty, no, talagang ganda ng mga topics na yun. I think that's really worth exploring. Maybe that could become our first collaboration with Acadesia, no, in our May series. We'll definitely look into that. And of course, saktong-sakto din, no, our teachers will be on almost at the end, no, towards the end na, no, ng school year nila. Something that will help them rethink as they approach the next school year kasi talagang madaming iisipin, madaming gagawin, madaming isasalang-alang as we have our next school year. Okay? Ayan. And Teacher Pao, Teacher Jello, anything else? Or we're
All
good?
All good.
Okay. So maraming salamat, teachers. We'll see you on Thursday. Again, stay safe po, stay negative from COVID-19. But again, stay positive in life. Nasabi ka ni Sir Jake, lagi tayong let's be optimistic as we approach our next school year. Bye, teachers. Paalam po. Bye, Sir Jake. Paalam po.
Stay safe, everyone. Salamat. Paalam.